everybody, welcome to another episode of You Guessed It, Con Report. In this episode, we're going to be talking about A&E 2019 along with some other cons. Now, A&E is in Boston, Massachusetts, which I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. I've heard it's a very beautiful city. Now, A&E was formed back in 2014 with its first official con in 2015 and has continued to grow since. And the charity for A&E has always been absolutely phenomenal, and it's Massachusetts Vestadog, which helps provide bulletproof vests, oxygen masks, and other equipment for police dogs and rescue dogs to be able to continue their jobs. And so far they have raised $57,600 for the charity. The bulletproof vest cost about $2,400, and that's 24 bulletproof vests. And the guest of honor this year were two artists. One of the artists was Enra, which will show some of their credited artwork somewhere on the screen here. And then the other artist, which if you've been in this fandom long enough, you are certainly familiar with their work. It is Mish. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Here's some more of their SFW artwork. So as far as we could tell, LineCon was not a thing this year. We didn't find any reports on it, and apparently the main hotel did some room checks and found people had beer keg. I don't know why you would need a beer keg, but okay, that's kind of impressive. A&E also had some really interesting panels this year, just by looking at the schedule. They had an escape room, they had artist meet and greets, their own version of America's Got Talent, and some other game shows. Mossbat even had his own meet and greet, which was actually pretty cool to actually see and hear of. And then they also had a panel called Let's Make a Documentary, which I thought was pretty interesting to hear about. And I also saw a lot of anti-Nazi stuff at A&E. People reporting a lot of Nazi activity. As far as I could tell, nothing super crazy or over the line, maybe just people being there, I don't know. And so for this con report, we interviewed Gail Frostbane. So Gail, tell me a little about A&E this year.
My name is Gail Frostbane, aka Nexus, aka many different characters. I was one of the original founders of Anthro New England and still remain on staff in the board of directors to this day. For A&E 2019, I was in charge of fursuit track and charity, as well as doing odds and ends here and there. That is basically what I do at the con and my background of the con.
So I saw you took care of opening ceremonies in the Young Fur panel and how to start a con panel. Can you tell me a little bit about each of those?
Opening ceremonies, the con chair, who was Hunter Husky, and some staff members basically giving everybody a rundown of what exactly is going to be going on at that year's convention. We always try and keep opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies to a short and sweet 30 minutes or less, just because they're supposed to either be the introduction or the wrap-up, and it's not supposed to be, too much more than that. The Young Furs panel, that was a panel for all of the Young Furs, aka minors in the fandom, and their parents to come talk about being a child or a parent in the furry fandom and what it's like, what the experience is like, what's currently offered for young furs and their parents at conventions and throughout the years as just being members of the furry fandom. About halfway through, we broke it off as a meet and greet so that all of the kids could go meet each other and make new friends and play with some fursuiters that I had invited to the panel. And then that way I could talk in private with the parents about any questions that they maybe had about the convention, the furry fandom in general, or anything like that. It was a really, really positive panel, and it was awesome to see so many parents there supporting their kids' passions. That was really cool. The How to Start a Convention panel, which is exactly what it sounds like, basically how to analyze if you are in an area that needs a new convention, and then what goes into making that a reality, and just kind of a brief overview of what it takes to start and run a convention, because it is a lot of work, especially considering the conventions are, for the most part, furry conventions are a non-profit, and you're all volunteers and none of us are getting paid, so it's definitely a lot of work. The dance competition, I run the dance comp preliminaries, and I'm a prelims judge along with Ziggy at the preliminaries, which is where we take everybody that's signed up and entered and watch their performances and decide who the around 20 finalists will be in the actual final dance competition itself, which is the public event that everybody attends. It's very busy, it's a lot of work. We actually had about 50 people sign up this year, which is crazy. We didn't have have all 50 of them show up to the actual preliminaries. But yeah, it was great to see that many people interested in the dance competition and perform their preliminary act. From there, we chose who would be going to the finals on Saturday night. And then, of course, the finals were Saturday night, judged by Strobes, Beta Monkey, and Kiba. And that was super successful. We had 20 awesome acts. Other than that, we also had the Fursuit Games, which are our competitive fursuit athletics, in big air quotes, competition, where, you know, they get to play 4 competitive games to see which team is going to win. This year, they had to do a scooter relay race, a game of charades, a wrap-em-up mummy contest, and then musical chairs is always the game that we end with. On Sunday, we host a fursuit recess, which are the non-competitive version of the fursuit games. I also hosted the charity presentation along with our charity, Massachusetts Vestadog. Gets the people attending our convention to know more about our charity. The fursuit group photo. We invite all of the people at the convention with their fursuits to come to the main ballroom to be in a large group photo, and then do a public fursuit walk to the public gardens and Boston Commons.
I know you dance, but did you dance at A&E? And if so, can you tell me a little bit about that experience of being in front of a crowd like that?
Unfortunately, when you have to run it, it means that you can't participate, which is unfortunate because I now run the one at Anthem New England and at MFF, so it leaves me very few throughout the year that I can actually dance in and participate in, because sometimes I also get pulled to judge or MC other dance competitions as well. So the next time I'll be dancing will be at Vernal Equinox. I'm looking forward to, because I haven't been able to dance in a while, and I always love getting up in front of all of those audience members and giving them something to entertain them and make them smile and such.
And I guess lastly, overall, can you tell us about your experience at A&E this year?
It was a very busy convention. Like I said before, conventions are definitely a lot of work and requires a lot to go into them. It's enjoyable work. I mean, you're making everybody have a fun time, and then I get to go to other conventions where other people are working their butts off and I get to have a fun time. So it's kind of a pay it forward, pay it back sort of scenario.
And now we'll begin talking about Nordic FuzzCon to wrap this up a little bit. Nordic FuzzCon charity, I can't pronounce it in Swedish, according to Google, is translated to the Swedish Animal Ambulance, which is a non-profit ambulance. And every year they answer more than 11,000 calls and serve over 3,000 or more emergencies. And their goal is to be able to cover all of Sweden eventually. I wasn't able to find the amount of donations this year, but I was able to find some other interesting statistics about like species that actually showed up at the con this year. So the first category we will talk about is gender, and about 79% of attendees were male and 13% were female, which I'm just going to make a little guess since I don't actually have any numbers. I feel like a huge portion of the fandom is filled with homosexual males. Alright, so next category we have species in attendance, and at first place with 45% it is canines and vulpines. Is it vulpines or vulpines?
Vulpines.
Is vulpines Pokemon?
Yeah.
Motherfucker. And at second place, which is honestly a surprise to me, at 18%, we have felines. Cameraman, I was about to say 18%. That's second place in attendance. And then third place is 7% is dragons, which, I mean, it's okay, guys. We know we're the best. It's okay. We're a rare breed. Anyways, and that's going to wrap it up for this episode for Con Report. Thank you for watching. Feel free to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to see what we have in store for the future, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. And our Twitter will be in the description below. Thank you for watching.